Welcome, everybody, to this episode number 3. 3 big episodes of the Cop and the Con podcast with
Eric Walker
and Tanner Johnson. So, a couple things we want to say first. First of all, I want to say happy birthday to my sister. By the time this episode airs, it will be her birthday. And she was pretty upset that I haven't mentioned her yet. And I told her I don't like talking about stupid, ugly people. But fortunate for her,
are you
she's
talking about Missy?
Yeah, she's neither one. So my sister is the most wonderful, beautiful person in the world, and I'm so happy. Happy 75th birthday, Missy.
Me and her are the same age.
Are you?
No.
I was gonna say she's born in 71. So.
Yeah, I'm older than her.
Sorry about airing all your actual age on the air, sis. But that's all I wanted to start off with. Eric said he had a couple thanks he wanted to.
Yeah, I want to start off by thanking everybody that listened and watched on YouTube. As you know, we're on YouTube now. You can find us at the Cop and the Con podcast on YouTube, and the response for everything's been overwhelming. We couldn't be happier with the views we got and the comments and everybody coming up to us saying how much they enjoyed it. And we're gonna try to keep it going, man. We don't have anything better to do, so we might as well, right?
Yeah, why not? We've had a lot of people come to us and talk to us about it and tell us they really liked it. I hope to keep that going. Hopefully we stay interesting for you guys and we don't get boring. I don't think I'm capable of boring, but I mean, I'm a barrel of freaking monkeys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say the least.
To say the least.
Tanner's, remember that, what was the song to keep kids from jumping off on the bed?
Oh,
the monkeys jump on the bed.
One rolls off, one rolls off.
Bumped his head?
Bumped his head, yeah.
Tanner's the poster child for that.
Yes, I am.
Speaking of monkeys. But, yeah, I kind of want to start with Happy 4th, everybody. It's the 5th of July right now, but 250 years in this country. I love this country. A lot of this stuff that we do wouldn't be possible, like this podcast. And luckily, we live in a country. I don't like to get too political about things. I'm not a political guy, but we really live in a great place. And no matter what you see on the media, and no matter what you see in social media, we do live in the greatest country in the world.
Speaking of that, have you seen any of the videos of the foreigners that came to America?
Oh, for World Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They love it, dude.
They absolutely love it. In fact, the greatest quote I've seen is. So far, and I've seen a couple of them kind of regurgitate it, but one guy was quoted as saying, if you want to hate America, watch the news. If you want to love America, visit here.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how wonderful the people have been and how it's just nothing compared to what they see on, TV and here and this and that, and they get to see the cherry-picked worst parts about us, which is, there's a lot you could do, but when you get here, for a whole, I think everybody's pretty nice. I think we're all, pretty chill, and we enjoy having people enjoy what we have. And I think it made me kind of feel like maybe we take for granted what we do have.
We definitely do. It's like having an ocean view.
Yeah.
You look at the ocean every day, and you start to not really appreciate it that much. And then other people come and see, and they're all like, "Man, what a view!" Yeah. It's the same way here. We get caught up in, especially social media, since 2009, 2010. It's been 16, 17 years since social media has kind of made an impact on the world. And if all your life is looking at your phone, you're going to have a shitty outlook on the world. You definitely are.
I wonder what made you say that.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Carry on.
Do I look at my phone a lot?
No, we'll figure. Well, you'll understand later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did I hit on something?
I don't know. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't.
Great minds, right? Huh. That's my topic.
It's funny. There's only one person in the world that knew what my topic was.
No. I had nothing to do with it.
She actually. I tried to get it out of her. She actually didn't tell me anything. So that's awesome that we're kind of on the same wavelength.
Yeah. But yeah, it gave me a sense of pride. It gave me a sense of, I don't know. It made me want to do better. Just seeing all these videos of these people that are just like, there was a guy from China that ate Texas barbecue, and it's so funny. That video is just hilarious. It was like he just became a whole different person. Just could not believe what he was eating. And there was another guy from England, and he's walking through Walmart. And as he's walking through Walmart, he's like, "This is the greatest store I've ever seen. This is amazing." Like, they are just blown away by things that we are just, it's just, everyday life for us.
Oh yeah. Well, you remember during COVID how the shelves were kind of bare, and it impacted the shipping industry and everything. And man, it was kind of a weird feeling not to be able to go in and buy toilet paper or buy what you wanted to buy. At one point, we couldn't buy milk for a little while because of the shipping and all the supply lines. And I think that kind of opened people's eyes to, like, man, we do have it good, because a lot of countries, that's just how they operate.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to get stuff, and it's hard to they don't have as many choices as we have. And I don't know.
And then a common theme amongst all of them, though, it wasn't said word for word but the common theme that people had in LA and Dallas and was that they felt welcomed no matter where they went. And one guy was just saying, he watched and he just thought that you couldn't walk out of your house without being murdered here in America, because it was just so bad. And he's like, he's walking the streets of everywhere, wherever they are, and they're welcomed, they're treated great. And I don't know, it just made me feel proud to be an American, to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's sad to say, and I know you're going to dive into it a little bit more from what you hinted to, is the stuff we see and down to whatever you believe. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to try to get political, because I'm not informed enough to make a really informed decision and give a statement on anything. But did you see the recent statement by The Rock?
No.
So Dwayne Johnson, I don't know what format he
My
went
uncle,
on.
Dwayne.
Yeah, Uncle Dwayne.
Uncle Dwayne Johnson.
And it's funny how you don't look anything like him. But,
I know, it's weird. I'm much bigger.
But I believe I had heard that he went on and said that he is not a political person. He has his own political beliefs, and they're his beliefs, and he's going to keep them to himself. And he's an actor, and that's what he does, and that's what his focus is. And he's not going to weigh in on anything because he doesn't believe that he's informed enough to do it. He has his own opinions about things, but he doesn't really.
Well, it looks like he got a lot of backlash not.
He got so much backlash from Hollywood
because he didn't want to share his political take. So
and so, look, I don't care what you believe. That's why we live in this country. I have a story. Remember when? I think it was back in probably 2000. Let's see, probably it was Trump's first administration. Mm-hmm. And remember the Colin Kaepernick thing in the NFL, the kneeling down and all the polarization with that. My personal opinion, I didn't enjoy watching that, but my political opinion was it's a free country, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people died for somebody's right to
be able to
do that. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with it personally, but I had a friend, and he's very, very right wing, and I'm not going to say who it is, but we kind of got in a little argument about it. And I don't like to argue politics. My dad told me don't talk about politics or religion, as I'm talking about politics. But he said, "Yeah, Trump's going to make it mandatory for these guys to stand during the national anthem." I'm like, "I don't agree with that." And he goes, "What do you mean you don't agree with it? You think it's okay for them to kneel?" I said, "My personal opinion doesn't matter. They're right to do whatever they want to do. We're going down a slippery slope if the government is going to tell you what you can do. They can't tell me what to do unless I'm breaking the law.
Yeah,
I can stand on my head if I want to. That's my personal choice."
I would pay to see that.
Yeah.
Dory, have you witnessed him standing on his head at all?
Nope.
Okay. I think that would be that might be a great episode to see if Eric can stand on his head.
I can. I'm not going to do it right now. But the point I'm trying to make is, look, we live in a free country, and the reason that America is so great is because people can do what they want to do, and you don't have to agree with it. You're not supposed to agree with it. That's what debate is for. And when people wrap their personality and their identity around political belief, they close down completely from any kind of input or any kind of rational discussion or debate, which used to be, and I think it still is, what this country was based on, is having differences. We have all walks of life in this country, and that's what makes it so great. Nobody should be dictated what they should do unless they're causing disturbance or breaking the law or things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, without getting too political, I don't want to kind of go down that rabbit hole very much. But
well, I think if you, I can point back to, I think it was 2016. I have had no political. I'm obviously a convict. I can't even vote, but I had questions. That was the first year that it was just so big, and I guess I'd paid attention to it. And I remember the only political post, and I wouldn't even call it a political post I ever had on Facebook. I had put on the post, give me your reasons for liking Hillary without mentioning Donald Trump. And I said the opposite, and give me your reasons for liking Trump without mentioning Hillary. It was just one post. And I wondered, I didn't know, I wasn't a political person. I didn't dive into it that much. And I think my follower count went down by like 40, like now. And then the people that stuck around and unfollowed later, I didn't even get into the discussion. I just let them go. And it was just some of the most hateful, inappropriate, unreasonable, like just, it was terrible. And like, I mean, I just wanted to know, like, I wanted to be informed, and I learned real quick, I'm not posting anything on Facebook ever again like that. That's where I stayed.
The funny thing about that is the bipartisan system that we have is designed to separate people and get them to fight amongst themselves. Because believe you me, these people, whether they be Republican or Democrat or Libertarian, whatever they are, they hang out, man. They are friends behind the scenes. Trump and Hillary have been friends forever.
Yeah.
And Trump was a Democrat.
Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah. And so the thing is, when we're fighting amongst ourselves, we don't see what else is going on. It's the tail that wags the dog, basically.
Well, I have two friends. They're the only ones I know that can pull it off. Two friends that are, one is extreme left and one is extreme right.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And they get into some of the loudest screaming matches back and forth at each other. And they do it once a week.
They woke me up. I was staying, I won't say who it is. I was staying at the extreme right friend's apartment in Mesa. And about 11 o'clock at night, I get awoken by, I thought somebody was fighting in the street. And it was these two going at it about politics.
But then when they're done with their fight, they don't miss a beat. Like,
they don't take it personal.
There's no, like, and it's funny because I've seen them where one would say, hey, you're going a little too far. That's kind of personal. And that's it.
That's the problem now.
And they
People
can
take
do
shit
that,
too personal.
and they don't, they hang out. They're constantly together. They go out of town all the time together. Like, these two are just, and it's so funny because if you ever walked up on them having that conversation, you'd think, oh, this is going to end up in a fight. There's going to, like, we need to get between them. I just know now. I just shut the door. Like, let them get it out, and then it's over. And then they're friends. Well, and they don't. And I've never seen anybody be able to do that like them.
And they both love it. Mm-hmm. And how boring is it just to surround yourself with people that have the same thoughts that you do?
Your echo chamber.
Like, we're not supposed to survive like that.
No.
Hey, speaking of freedom in America, have you seen the new fighter jet?
I have not.
Pull up the F-47, and I think it's called the F-40. The last jet we designed and made was the F-22 Raptor, which is a marvel of technology. The F-47 made by Boeing.
Go to images.
Is this thing. It flies at Mach 2. You know what Mach 2 is?
That one right there?
Well, nobody has a actual picture. These are all renderings, I think. I think maybe that.
Yeah, this is everything we know about it.
That's everything we know. And what's weird is Trump's the 47th president, so I think that's why it's called F-47.
I would imagine so.
But it flies at Mach 2. Can you look up the speed of sound?
Speed of sound is 1,000.
Is it like? No, I think it's like 600 miles an hour. I want to.
It is. Go to all.
Go to all.
It is 767 miles an hour. Yeah, that's what I said.
So double that.
Yeah.
1,600 miles an hour. 1,600 miles an hour.
Hey, quick quiz.
Yeah.
If it's going 1,600 miles an hour, how far can you get in an hour?
1,600 miles.
Damn. All right. I have stumped a few with that.
What color was George Washington's white horse?
Yeah.
But so it has enough fuel. It has a 590 nautical mile range. Oh, that's the F-22. The F-35 600. This one has enough fuel. It's an intercontinental fighter. It can take off from the United States and fly wherever it wants and fly back without refueling.
Cool. So they finally reverse engineered Roswell.
Yeah, no shit. But this is the coolest part. I don't know how many
Propulsion.
Yeah, I don't know how many drones it controls, but I think it's up to 6 drones that
From their plane?
That's wingman, like wingmen.
Huh.
So
Yeah, there it is right there. The drone wingman.
yeah, it controls drones that fly with it to protect it.
It says the F-47 is not designed to fight alone. It will operate with collaborative combat aircraft, autonomous drones that fly alongside the crewed fighter as a loyal wingman. The Air Force envisions each F-47 controlling 2 or more CCAs that handle sensor coverage, weapons delivery, electronic warfare, and decoy missions.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That's next level stuff right there. And man, and multi-billion, like 300 million per jet.
Wow.
It's a multi-billion-dollar project. But I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm all for it. I don't, some people think it might be a waste of money, but
They said
all for
185
superiority.
aircraft. They're
185 at 300 million apiece. What's the math on that?
It's 64.758 million. 64. It's we're getting a total for you here. Don't worry. 55. I was close. I was 9 million.
55 billion.
Yeah.
500 million.
I said 64. I was off a little bit.
Dude. And
I'm freaking Rain Man, by the way.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
that fits.
Yeah.
But crazy.
So, that's all pretty cool stuff, man. I think we're forgetting something some people have seen already, but we have our beautiful faces on the wall now.
Oh, yeah. We haven't painted yet.
We haven't painted yet, but we promised you we'd upgrade something, and, well, there it is.
There it is.
We just still got to paint and put shelves. And
I don't look like that anymore, but there it is.
No, I pulled that picture from one of Eric's old police officer pictures that was on his profile somewhere. I found it, and I made
just
it.
a baby.
Yeah, and that's how it... Actually, no, I take it back. That's the one I said... I put into Gemini. That's the one I told you. Like,
right.
I just put in, me and my friend Eric Walker are going to do a podcast. Can you build us this thing? So I typed that in, and it came up with an image that looked it made me black, didn't it? Mm-hmm. That's the first picture it came up with, was that one right there of Eric. I'm like, how the heck did it not know me? But it nails Eric. But I guess it uses my photo album again. I don't know why it made me a black guy, but I think Gemini's racist, obviously. But it pulled a perfect picture of Eric, and it even had his tattoos on his arm and everything. And I was like, that's crazy. I had no idea that it was doing that. That's pretty interesting. So, but yeah, we got that, and that's pretty cool.
We fixed the camera location.
Fix the camera location so you can see us a little better.
Bright smiling faces.
I don't know if you can see me. Maybe I gotta scoot this way. Just have the arm in my face.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. My mom told me at an early age that I had a face for radio.
You sure do.
I don't know what she meant by that. But anyway.
Well, Tanner, do you wanna go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, since you've already crapped on my parade and used my topic, Dory.
I had nothing to do.
Nothing to do with it.
With Did not say anything.
So we decided. So we started thinking like, crap. What if like something in the news, we both see it, and we don't tell each other about our topics? What if we end up on the same topic? So we decided during the week, I'm going to text Dory and tell her, hey, this is my topic, just to make sure it's not the same as Eric's. But it's funny that Eric kind of knew. Pretty sure
She didn't say anything, I swear.
Okay, I'll believe her. But so yeah, my topic is going to be this week. We're going to talk about the effect of the cell phone and what it's done to. Basically, comparing it between how you and I grow up, as compared to how my kids are growing up, and the advantages and the disadvantages of both. I have struggled with this topic because both my girls have phones, and I got them for them, and I always told myself like, oh, it's great in case there's an emergency, I'll know where to find them, or I can do this, or I can do that. But I mean, we grew up pretty good without any of that.
Yeah, my mom's voice carried down the neighborhood.
Yeah, so I struggle with it a lot. I think that. My problem with it is, and I start thinking back to like, and I think our age is like the one age that, Gen X, and we grew up in an analog world, but also a digital world too. So we kind of get the best of both. We grew up with no technology. We had, a bicycle and a phone on the wall, and if you weren't home, you didn't get a phone call. I grew up with my own line in my room. Why?
Because my parents had money.
Oh.
Until they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your own phone number?
In junior high in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I had my own phone number.
Huh. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Talk about white privilege. So anyway, yeah, so I struggle with it. I know that my girls... I think that they pick up on things that maybe they shouldn't, and I don't care. And I have parenting apps on the phone, so I can go in and monitor. I can turn apps off. I can turn apps on. I have to approve anything they download. Google has it's called Family Link. I can control how much time each app gets used. I mean, it's pretty in depth, but even it still doesn't block everything. I recently got on, they had YouTube Kids, and YouTube Kids still has crap on it. I don't know who rates these shows to where they're okay for YouTube Kids, but, and it worries me. And sometimes I get a little too worried about it. And, but I just don't feel like I can be too cautious with it. But what made me start thinking about it this week was, I don't know, you can kind of had to do with what we were talking about having universal income and this and that. Like, yeah, there's certain benefits to it, but like with the phones, like I feel like we've learned a lot more. We're obviously a lot more connected, but I also feel like, I don't know. I'd have to look deeper into like obesity levels. Have they gone up since the cell phone? Because people are getting lazy. People aren't doing things. People can get everything from their phone. They don't have to do anything anymore if they don't want to. And I worry about complacency a lot and not doing enough to keep everybody from ending up like Wall-E. Did you ever watch Wall-E?
Oh yeah.
And they all just had, just a bunch of fat slobs in a chair, and they're living their life through a headset.
Yeah, and we have robots now, so
yeah. So it freaks me out a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like, man, my kids are probably smarter than I was for sure. Like they know.
Definitely technology wise.
Well,
they're smarter.
I always tell this story about my dad, the great Randy Johnson. He figured out that they were paying too much on their direct TV bill. and they'd had it on auto pay for years, and it was just through the roof. When they looked at it, they're like, holy crap. They were paying like $265 a month to have TV. And I said, well, I'll just get you on a Fire Stick. All he watches is the cooking channel, the travel channel. And I said, all of those are under Discovery Plus. Like, you can just share my subscription with me. So I got him on a Fire Stick and got rid of his DirecTV and everything. It was the hardest 3 weeks of my life.
Trying to walk him through getting on.
Now, I know he was grateful and I know he loved me, but I bet you there were curse words that came out of him because of that damn thing. And I think he'd get mad because he had to keep calling and asking, and say, hey, I need help with this, or what do I do with this? And I know of course I went and helped him, but I think he thought he was bothering me or something like that. But anyway, so 3 weeks go by. I said, Dad, I'm going to come on Saturday. We're going to just sit down. I'm going to walk you through everything. We'll write everything down. We'll do this, and then you can have everything ready. So Saturday comes along. We get to the house. I walk in and say hi to his wife, and we're walking around the house, and Avery walks in and says, Papa, what's going on? And he said, well, your dad's going to teach me how to do the TV today. And this was when she was 5. And she said, let me see it, Papa, I'll show you. And it made him madder than hell because she knew exactly what to do, showed him how to do it. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was mad. He told me I had to have a damn 5-year-old teach me how to do it.
Oh, my 14-year-old, when he sees me operating my phone, he's like, why don't you just go here? It's a shortcut. I'm like, because I don't like to go there. I like to do it the other way.
So, yeah, I think in that sense, it's great because these kids are learning a lot of stuff. But I just, in fact, you said it to me. I don't want to get in. I definitely don't want to delve into this. So I don't want, like, it was when the George Floyd thing happened.
Sure.
And I had asked you about it. And I can't remember what I'd said, but you had told me it's not different. People just can see it now.
Yeah.
There's a phone, there's something to record, like things like that, may have been happening for years.
Yes.
And there might have, I'm sure there was back in, I don't know if you were around for the good old boy days, but
I was definitely around, and I haven't been a cop since 2010. So I wasn't around for all the social media stuff.
So I feel like, that kind of stuff is, but, and I've always, I see people all the time, they're worried about too much cameras or they're doing this. I just saw a video today about people complaining about the flat cameras. And I struggle with it because I love technology. I love all this stuff, but I'm on the weird end of things where it's like, I like GPS. I like my phone I'm not doing anything illegal. So maybe some people are, and there is some people that are just want their privacy, and I get that. But to me, I don't want to catch a murder rap or a burglary rap or something like that on something that I looked like or maybe, was in the area or something. I like having the GPS. I like having the cameras. I like the fact that, somebody could find me if I'm lost. I appreciate all those things. And I know there's a lot of people that hate them. There's the flat cameras. I see it on our local blast page, people complaining about the flat cameras, this and that, and this, that. And I didn't know much about them. And I saw a story this morning when I was looking up stuff for the show. A lady, there was a robbery. Somebody was doing porch pirates. They were going to steal in Amazon boxes and stuff.
Right.
Well, the flat camera caught her going by that neighborhood every single day. And the cop came to the house with pictures of her car and said, there's video. What are you talking about? Like, we know you did it. Just fess up to it. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, this is kind of a big deal, I guess. But they, it went for months and months and months. But they finally found the camera footage from the lady who was robbed. And it completely blew. So the flock camera, and again, that was probably a police officer that was overextending what he should do, and probably, I think he got in a little trouble for it. But yeah, there's like those kind of things that worry me too. Like, she was driving to work every day on that same road. That's why she was, and they had said, no, we know your case in this neighborhood. We see you, every day by this house. And like, I'm sure it was, taken out of proportion. And I'm pretty sure that guy got in a lot of trouble for that officer did. But,
well, I mean, I go by the saying, don't believe anything you read and half of what you see. Mm. So even if it's on camera, that's one angle, that's one situation. You don't have all angles of this situation. And you mentioned George Floyd, and I have my opinions on that. I won't say, but there have been situations where one person sees it one way and another person at a different angle sees it another way, and another person sees it another way. That's why when you go to a scene as a cop, you separate the witnesses.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to have a different viewpoint, and that matters. Because if they get together, guess what happens? They have the same story. Yeah. Because they start talking to each other, and they have the same story. Oh, you saw this? Oh, yeah, maybe I did see that. So that stuff matters. Different viewpoints matter, like we mentioned before. And, and like you said also, there's good things to all this technology, and there's things that aren't so good to all this technology. When people start infringing on your rights, that's not a good thing. Yeah. When it makes our lives easier, like I said, you need a little struggle in your life, but man, I don't want to stop on the side of the road and get my map out and try to see where I'm going, or print out a MapQuest, 6 pages off MapQuest to try to get somewhere. I love that I have GPS. I love that I have a computer in my pocket and I can look up anything I want because I'm a curious person. You're the same way. Mm-hmm. But when we get to things like a social credit score and things like that, and people start infringing on our rights based on what we look up and what we view, then that's an invasion of our privacy. Yeah. But also, when people say, they're listening through your phone. Yeah, I know. I don't got anything to hide. That. I don't have anything to hide. Like if you're fucking up out there, you're probably going to be pissed off that there's cameras. Yeah. You're probably going to be pissed off that they're listening on your phone. If you're just going through life and you're a good person, it's not going to affect you that much.
Well, and that's what and I don't know when I was, phones were around, but I think we had flip phones when I was in the drug scene and stuff like that. We had. It was just flip phones. I think that's when they started with the pager. Yeah. First thing I ever had was a pager. But
that's the dude. When I was a cop, if somebody had a pager, they were getting searched.
Yeah, but I had. What did I have? I remember getting my first BlackBerry, and I was like, man, this is legit. Mm-hmm. And do you remember when? Do you remember when planking was going around?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was taking pictures on... So me and my cousin, Aaron Claridge, we were...
I didn't know Aaron was your cousin.
He's got we're Claridges.
Well, I just... When we were talking about the paranormal the other day, that house was...
Aaron's?
Aaron's.
Oh. I didn't know that. Well, yeah.
I call him the ninja.
Yeah, so he... I don't know how we got started on it, but... Like, he was going on vacation, and he was like, welcome to the Toronto National Forest sign, stuff like that. He was finding ways to get up on top of the signs and plank and take a picture of it and send it to me. And then I would what was the one I did? I think it was on top of the IHOP sign in Tucson. And we did that for, I don't know how long. But... One of the times I had just got that BlackBerry and I thought it was so cool, man. I loved it. It was the coolest phone I ever had. I went and planked on a parking curb in a Walmart parking lot and snapped that sucker in half on my pocket. Worst day ever. But yeah, planking was, there's some pictures of planking.
The McDonald's sign, that's legit right there, dude.
I totally forgot.
How do you get up on a McDonald's sign?
Oh, it's got to be Photoshop. Yeah, they just photoshopped themselves in there. Yeah. But yeah, it was 2011. Yep. And me and Aaron, I don't know how we even got onto it, but it was just we just planked. That's what we did. So, but yeah, I ruined my phone. And the last picture I took was, I can't remember, but I never got to use it again. I lost my BlackBerry, and I'd saved up money to get that freaking phone. I think it was $149 or something like that. I don't remember, but
They were expensive.
yeah. And they so I got it. And
I mean, comparatively.
yeah. Back
mean,
then they were expensive.
Phones are like $2,000 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you get to pay for them a little bit at a time.
Yeah. But stuff. Okay. Do you care if I tell the story? We don't have to mention any names, but the rain story that we just discussed. Can we talk about that?
The rain story.
Yeah, the license plates and the rain story.
Oh no, you can mention names.
Okay.
I don't care.
Well, I'll tell you. So, I was trying to think of ways that me and Eric had met. I mean, this kind of goes into the flak thing too, because this probably would have saved both of us if there was flat cameras. But anyway, so back, and I don't think Eric and I knew each other very well. At that point, we knew who each other were. So I was on my way to my friend Jamie and Cassie's house. I can't remember what we were doing or why, but at the time, my sweet cousin Michelle had lent me her Mercedes-Benz SLK 230, little two-seater car, and I thought it was the coolest dude ever.
It's like a compressor.
Yeah, a little
like
compressor
that.
engine in it, and yeah, it was nice. So naturally, this is one of the times I had been sober in life, so I think the police had just kind of pegged me for probably doing something wrong. I'm out, no job, driving a Mercedes. So they were on to me for something. I don't know, but it was unfounded. But anyway, so it's a rainy day, and I'm going to pick up Jamie and Cassie. And I go to their house, I pick them up, and me and Jamie and Cassie, all three of us in the front of this little two-seater car, and we get down on 20th Avenue right there, and I get pulled over by an unmarked car. And it was the two investigators at the time that had pulled me over, and I knew who they were. But they pulled me over, and I thought I was getting pulled over for having three people in a two-seater car. I'm like, sorry, we're just going somewhere. They didn't say anything. They pulled me out of the car, stood me by the bumper of their car, and just left me there. Didn't say a word.
In the rain.
In the rain. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And they were to the side of me, and they're on the phone. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And then all at once, they're like, all right, get out of here. It's just weird. I don't know what was going on at that point. And I jump in the car, and I'm freaked out at this point because I knew in my mind, I'm like, this is how they follow people, In my mind, I was thinking, this is definitely, they think I'm up to something. And I wasn't at that time. I was a good kid at that point. And then, so later on, we find out that one of the deputies had followed me in the rain, and he read my license plate, and it did not come back to a Mercedes-Benz SLK 230. Whose plate did it come back to?
Mine.
Eric Walker had a Mustang.
Yes.
Broken down on the side of his house.
No, it was running.
Oh, you didn't drive it, though, very much, did you?
Yeah, a little bit.
So, of all of the millions of license plates in Arizona, he misread one number, and that number changed my plate from the Mercedes to a Ford Mustang owned by Eric Walker.
Yeah, I'm glad you found it funny because I got called in the chief's office about it, and I was hot. I didn't know what was going on. They were accusing, not really accusing me, but they're all, why is this plate on a car that Tanner Johnson is driving, and we're looking at him for this, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And obviously they made a mistake, and it didn't look good on my behalf. But when they finally said, oh, we transposed the numbers, and then I was
and then later on they told me they assumed that I was running drugs and that somehow Eric was involved. That's how I could afford the car. And the reason they would have never thought Eric was involved, but because of that one single number in the license plate that was transposed, it came back to Eric. So they're like, yeah, he's lending him his plate and letting me drive, so that my plates weren't seen. And
yeah, and I got pissed, and when they kind of subtly accused me of something when it was their mistake, and I haven't seen people backpedal so fast. Well, one person in particular I won't name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of funny though.
Anyway, we had a great 4th of July here. I don't know if you guys have ever been part of a small town 4th of July, but we have the parades. We have, I mean, it's all day fireworks. People come from all over, and it's just a huge, cool ordeal. But I went to a little town called Duncan where we had a friend. They used to call it the biggest small town 4th of July in America. I don't think it was, but that's just what they labeled it as. But you talk about, man, they come from all over the place to be part of these festivals. But yeah, we have the full parades. We have I think it was huge yesterday, big parade. But we have Classic Main Street, so Classic Main Street here, and Main Street's been around forever. We've had our Main Street in a couple movies that have been in part. There's a rumor that Walt Disney designed Main Street in Disneyland after our Main Street here in Safford, Arizona. So it's some people say it has happened, some people say it hasn't. But we used to have a hotel here called, what was that hotel called? It was the old hotel that Walt Disney stayed at. What was it called? The big pink motel at the end of that's been tore down. It caught on fire.
In Disney?
No, here in Safford, where the DMV is now.
Oh, El Dorado?
No, it was
something like that.
That's so weird. For no reason.
Look up Safford Hotel. Old time Safford Hotel.
Is it El? I thought it was El something.
No, it was called what was it called?
Yeah, it was right there by where the motor vehicle is now.
Who could I call?
Why are we talking about it?
Because you record on?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, sorry about that technical difficulty there for a second, but we were talking about it because at one point people have said that Walt Disney designed Main Street in Disneyland after the Main Street here in Safford, Arizona. That he stood out of the hotel there on the corner and looked down and if you look at Disneyland the Disneyland Main Street, it's very similar, but I think they even talk about it if you go up to the Discovery Park. What's it called? The information center up there at Discovery Park. Was it Buena Vista?
Buena Vista.
Yep, the Buena Vista Hotel.
Yep.
That's right. And it closed in '79. It stood up there. I was there when I was in high school. So up till '95, it was still there. It was just condemned but yeah, type in there, Dory. Type in Walt Disney, Safford, Arizona. I know he stayed here for sure. That's been confirmed. He did stay here, but they claim that that's where his idea of Main Street in Disneyland came from. Our Main Street.
Huh.
I can't remember how it happened or whatever, but I should have researched that more, but. Anyway, yeah. So there's your little side note while we had to wait for Eric to go pee. So back to my topic here is I worry about what is out there, what we're turning into, and if there's any. I mean, there's definitely good can come from anything having to do with cell phones, but I worry like. Where's it headed? And I wish I could say that everybody has a good brain on them, and that they. What does that say? Local lore in Safford suggests Walt Disney visited the historic Safford Theater and claimed the town's Main Street was inspired for his vision for Disneyland.
However, official Disney historians maintain that the true inspiration for Main Street USA came from Walt's childhood hometown of Marceline, Missouri, and Fort Collins, Colorado.
So nobody knows for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely was. Walt Disney was here in our little town.
Do you think Walt was part of the Illuminati?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah. I think he was an old racist bastard, if you would know the truth.
We can save. Yeah, those old Walt Disney cartoons, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're definitely questionable.
We'll definitely save that for another podcast for sure. We could do a couple of podcasts on that, and go down that. But yeah.
But I have to draw.
I remember that hotel though.
Yeah, and I just have to draw a fine line between, letting my kids be technologically advanced and also, but I think it all comes down to his parenting too. And I will say that Kelly and I have, we give them a leash, but I feel like, because of mine and her past, we've been through, seen and done everything. Like I dare one of these kids to come home high one time and tell me they ain't done nothing.
Yeah.
Like they're not getting anything past either one of us for sure.
Well, here's my take. We still have autonomy, right? We still can decide what we do. We can limit ourselves on social media. We can limit our children on social media. The only thing is it's dopamine. It's a dopamine hit is what it is. I find myself just mindlessly doom scrolling on my phone, but at least I'm recognizing it and I stop sometimes.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to be more present because I think it takes you out of the present and puts you in this other digital world that sometimes can be depressing and sometimes can be definitely misleading.
Yes.
Because that is not the real world. And all the filters, and now with AI, and not to go back on AI, but man, you never really even know if you're seeing a real person or not, or a real situation or something that's acted out. I have, my son today, he's all, he goes, have you seen these AI water slide fails on these water slides off the side of skyscrapers and things like that? And he goes, I'm going to send one to Nana, his great grandmother, and see what she says. I'm like, she's going to believe it's real for sure. And people post it all the time, especially older folks will post stuff on Facebook. And man, I'm a spoiler. I'll get on there and go, that's AI.
The first AI video I ever made was me. And I posted on Facebook. It was just a video of me flying through the streets of New York, like Superman style, just in my regular clothes, my hat backwards, just flying through the streets of New York. And I think one or two of them commented, were like, "Wow, how did you learn to do that?" I'm like, "Oh, so not, okay." So some people aren't hip to AI yet. But yeah, it's which was the other point of this is I love comedy. I love stand-up comedy. And I feel
Who's your favorite
like
stand-up comedian?
Right now would be either Nate Bargatze. I love Nate Bargatze. I think
he was just in Phoenix last week.
I know. I'm really upset that I missed it. But I like Nate a lot. And I like Tom Segura, which is two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Nate's a clean comic, and Tom is as filthy as it gets. But
not filthy in like a vulgar way. Tom just says stuff.
He just don't care.
That is on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
But he's just brave enough to see. He's one of my favorite comedians. Bargatze's really good. I love Tom. Me and Dory just went to Ron Taylor. He just won the Funny AF on Netflix. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. That Kevin Hart show. And we went and saw him at the Tempe Improv. And, dude, that guy is so funny. And, overnight sensation. He's only been doing it for 16 years. And he finally broke through.
What I was getting to on this point is I worry that, TikTok, and you can find some really funny stuff on TikTok, but I think it is I feel like it's going to end up hurting like stand-up comedy, and I could be wrong on that completely, but people are used to that dopamine hit, and now they can watch a 30-second video, get that dopamine hit, and then on to the next. Whereas stand-up comedy, not every joke's going to be funny to you. I worry that people are going to, it could go with anything too, not just comedy, but I think that in the age of social media, that's what people are searching for, that quick dopamine hit that's going to,
30-second videos.
Yeah. And stand-up comedy, you might, if you don't like the first joke, they may turn it off because they're not used to They can just switch on their phone. Like, I don't like that. Swipe, swipe, swipe. But, you know, you might miss a banger, 2 jokes out of that just get you a good belly roll, belly laugh that you're not going to miss. You know, I don't know. I just worry that at some point people are going to get used to that 15-second and not want to see these things anymore. And that bothers me because I love it. And the only reason I say it is because somebody actually said it to me once. Recently, they were just like, I said, hey, did you see so-and-so's comedy special on Netflix? I got about 15 seconds into it, and I just got bored. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry, it's not a TikTok video, but good night, you know?
And someone who's good at promoting their comedy special with that kind of content, like we said, was Matt Rife. Mm-hmm. He kind of pioneered that. Well, I mean, if you want to go way back, Dane Cook.
Yep.
But he made
But Matt Rife's crowd work is like a TikTok video on steroids. It's just one right after the other because he keeps.
Yeah, it's meat and potatoes of his act.
Yeah, and did you see recently he did a stand-up special without doing crowd work. And I don't think it did very well. I don't think anybody liked it.
Yeah, they love his crowd work.
But his crowd work ones, God.
Yeah. But to my point, like, we can control what we do. And at the end of the day, we can't blame anybody but ourselves. Yeah. The technology is there. We take advantage of it. I don't know what the future is going to hold. I know that I have almost a 15-year-old, and he gives me hope for the future because his politics are kind of conservative, and he's kind of middle on the road on things, just like I am. I don't care what you do as long as you don't do it to me, and or my family, and people should be able to do whatever they want to do. But today he goes, have you ever heard of the Rothschilds? I'm like, the mega rich family, the Rothschilds. He goes, yeah. He goes, man, I've been going down this rabbit hole of the Rothschilds and the Gettys and international banking, and so and where does he look that stuff up? On his phone. Mm-hmm. And so he's doing his own research, and he's actually, and he's like all of us, our attention spans are getting shorter because we're looking at these short videos and these YouTube shorts and these TikTok shorts and things like that, TikTok videos. Promoting this podcast has been kind of an eye-opener for me because, I'll produce clips from our podcast and they end up being like 3 to 5 minutes, which is about the time it takes to make a point or talk about a subject fully on this. And man, I'm like, do we need to do like faster stuff to keep people interested? Because looking at the analytics on our podcast, like, not everybody listens to the whole thing. We only have not a small percentage, but about 30% of our listeners listen to the entire podcast, which is fine. We love, like, if you listen to 15 seconds or you listen to an hour and a half, we love it. But, to promote it, are we going to have to do shorter stuff? Are we going to have to do shorts and sound bites? Like, or do we just do whatever the heck we want to do? And if you listen, you listen. Like,
well, we're going to drawing the fine line between, who are we doing this for? Like, and if we are not doing what we want to do, are we actually, who are we serving then? As far as my point is we wanted this to be non-scripted. We wanted it to be original. We wanted it to be how we wanted to do it because we have that authority to do that. It's ours. Yes, I'd love people to listen to it, but I feel like we've got to stick to what makes us us.
Right. Oh, speaking of that, I was going to ask you. So in the interim between last week's podcast and this week's podcast, me and Tanner talk to each other just about every day. And I've been going down this hole of watching these podcasts. I don't know if it's my algorithm is feeding it to me of people that were in prison. Yeah. and it started popping up, and I can't get enough of it. I think this kid Ian Blick or something like that is on. I'm promoting his podcast, which is great. But he talks to people that were locked up, and they were locked up in like Lompoc and in federal prisons and things like this, and very dangerous prisons. I'm like, man, Tanner, like, people are eating this stuff up. They're getting a lot of viewers and everything. Like, man, we need to talk about, in a violent encounter or something that happened to you in prison? And Tanner was like, nothing really happened.
Nothing.
No, it wasn't, a vacation. He goes,
No.
but like I did.
It was, I mean, I don't want to promote prison by any means, but I will tell you something that people don't know about the prison system is you'd much rather be in prison than you would jail. A lot of people worry, prison's like, yeah, prison sucks because if you're there for a year, or more.
Well, it sucks on a bunch of different levels. You don't get to see your family.
Yes, there's tons of things that suck about it.
Yeah.
But you're segregated in prison by your crime. So in jail, nobody's been convicted. So the guy that just chopped up 4 or 5 different people could be in the cell with you because, well, he's not been charged with it yet. I mean, he's been charged with it. He's not been convicted of it. But when you after that, then they classify you. I shouldn't say segregate. They classify you by your crimes, and they put you with, people that are like you. So jail is the absolute worst place on earth. And I've always said, like, when these kids get in trouble, that should just be a mandatory, like, it's your first time in trouble, we're going to put you in jail for a week. And just see how you like it, because I feel like, man, I think it would help a ton of people. Now, I mean, obviously, you shouldn't do that.
Do you remember Scared Straight?
Yes, I remember Scared Straight. Yeah. I remember watching a couple of those, but like, yeah, these kids don't realize, especially kids, like adults, different, they are who they are. They made themselves who they are. They're, whatever. But these kids that are just, getting into trouble let them have a week in jail.
Let me ask you this. Okay. Maybe you didn't have a violent encounter, but you do have to establish what you're going to put up with and what you're not going to put up with in prison. And so I've been, I was a cop, obviously. I've never been to prison, but I know a little bit about it. I've worked in a prison before I became a cop. Did you have to click up with anybody?
I lucked out. And when I lucked out, it was because in 1995, I had got sentenced to shock incarceration, which was a 4-month military boot camp inside Florence East Unit. And then Florence East Unit was a medium security prison. Dory, it's the second button from the top. And then, so I got a prison number then. So back in 95, it was 119. So I can give you an idea of how many people have been incarcerated. So when I was in 95, or no, it was 94, I got a 119648 number. So that's how many prisoners have been through the system. At that point, I was the 119,648th prisoner to get a new number.
That's a pretty low number.
So I just saw somebody that went in. So since 94, so all the way up to 94, there was 119,000 prisoners. They are at 347,000 right now.
Yeah.
200,000 people since 94 have gotten new numbers. That doesn't count reoffenders. Have gotten brand new numbers. That's how many people are going to prison here in the state of Arizona. It's
big money.
Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable. So up till 94, they have doubled. No, they've almost tripled that number of people that have gone in since then. That's insane. But can't remember where I was going with that.
Clicking up.
Oh, so when I got sentenced to actual, going to prison, when I got my 3-year sentence, I got in there, and they were at number 149. So they're at 149, whatever. So when I got in there, I had a low number. So it looked on the surface.
You were an OG.
It looked like on the surface, I was. So there was a guy named Scott in there. He's a lifetime, just in and out guy. And he just kind of took me under his wing. Like he watched out for me. Like I remember the first day on the yard, I had a couple of the white guys come up to me and they're like, "Hey, you want to get in our poker game?" And I was like, "Is that what you do around here? Is that what's going on?" They're like, "Yeah." And you'd put your store in or pay with stamps or whatever. But when I was in that game for a matter of one hand, and Scott came over, grabbed me up by my ear, and pulled me out of that, and he's like, those guys did not mess with me again. And he's like, you don't get into stupid games like that. They're just going to take your money. You can't be doing that. And he kind of laid it out for me. And he was the only one I really had told at that point, like, hey, I don't have a real number. Like, I have a number, but I was in shock incarceration, and so I never really did real time. But I'll never forget that dude. Like, he taught me how to work out. He just kind of took me under his wing and never gave me an issue. So it was different. It was definitely interesting how that went down. But yes, you have to click. So once you get in there, you don't necessarily have to have a gang, but you belong to who you belong to, right. and it's very smooth, like very smooth. Like there's especially if you're watching TV or any of that, like, it looks like, you get on the yard and you're going to get shanked, and I'm sure that there's, whatever you did on the outside is going to, carry with you in there. So you go in there.
They know your paperwork.
Yeah. If you go in there with, and I'm sorry, but some of the guards, especially on our yard, they you do something worth being told on, they might look the other way. No, they might look the other way or let you know, hey, dude over here has been touching kids.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So when you get there, you got to go with your race. It's completely segregated. The 3 rules I was told the first day we was there was you don't swap spit, which means obviously no doing anything that, like, food. You don't share food. You don't share. You don't, and what the weird one to me was you never sit on another race's bed. And that was huge. That was one of the main rules you couldn't do. Like, you didn't eat with them, and it goes for all the races. Like, that wasn't just like the white guy rules. Like, they all abided by this standard. Like, you eat with them at lunch. You don't eat at a table with, but everybody got along. It was. And if, like, say, let's say a black guy and a white guy got in a fight, the heads of the yard handle it first. The white guys handle their stuff, and the black guys handle their stuff. And, like, they don't want that. And they run. I mean, it's pretty harmonious how they run it there.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, they want peace on the yard. They want everything to go smoothly, because lockdowns mean you don't get your store, you don't get your phone calls, you don't get anything. And so the smoother it can run, the better. And like I said, I worked there for 4 years. I worked on a minimum yard, but I did work lockdown for 2 years of that 4. And yeah, I mean, that's how it is. And we didn't really see a whole lot of that. I did work through a riot one time. Worked about 24 hours straight through a riot, and that, honestly, the whites kind of stayed out of it. It was between the blacks and the Mexicans on the yard, and the blacks lost. There's quite a few Mexicans on our yard. You'd be surprised, like the ratios. Like, a lot of people think that black incarceration is higher than white and Mexican incarceration, but in Arizona, that's not true. There's way more white guys, way more Mexican guys in prison than black people. And then not hardly any natives, just a handful of natives.
Yeah, they had their own group.
Who had the most rights? Yeah. Honestly,
they had. We had the blacks, the whites, the Mexicans, the paisas, and then the gays had their own. Didn't matter what color you were. You were just right. That was their group, and they got left alone. And we don't mess with them. They didn't mess with us. They were the best haircutters on the yard.
You're too old.
Yeah. Well, we were the best. They were the best haircutters on the yard, and I'll never forget the day I got there. I walked onto the yard. I was in Florence North unit, and they had a tent city, and I got assigned to tent city. But what you do is they let you off the bus, they put you process, and then they give you just bare minimum, and then they send you over to the laundry shack. So when you go to the laundry shack, you go in, you tell them your number, and funny enough, Lenny, do you remember Lenny?
Yeah.
Jill's?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've met Lenny.
Lenny's the first person I see on the yard. I never, I didn't know who he was at that point. And as I'm walking up to the yard to get my clothes from him, he's yelling something. He knew what he was doing. He was messing with all the new guys coming in. But he yells something pretty obscene to this. It was a girl. It was a girl.
I've been there, brother. I've seen him.
It had taken, she or whatever it was, had taken the stitching out of the pants, restitched them to where they were tight.
Yeah.
And the story I got told was that he wanted to have a sexual reassignment surgery and took out an insurance policy on his boyfriend, murdered said boyfriend, and was going to use the insurance money to get the operation. Yeah. So he got caught before that, and in protest used a razor blade and cut his own off.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't know. It was, but I was just like, there's women on our yard, and the best thing they do is Lenny hands me my clothes, and he says, I don't know who it was, but he says, go find Officer Johnson. He'll be up at the yard office. Tell him you want to sign up for the co-ed fishing trip. I'm like, what? And I just seen this girl on the yard, and I'm like, where did they send me? And he's like, yeah, just tell him Lenny sent you and that you need to sign up for the co-ed fishing trip. And I was like, there's no way. And he's like, no, yeah. If you're good for 6 months, they take you on a co-ed fishing trip. I don't know what he said, where he said, but I was like, cool, whatever. I didn't know. So Lenny hands me my clothes, and I went right up to that officer, and I was like, hey, Lenny sent me, I need to sign up for the fishing trip. And he's like, what fishing trip? I said, the co-ed fishing trip. And he took off straight to the shack over there where he's getting clothes. Mars, get over here. Quit messing with the new guys. But I was pretty pumped. I thought, man, we get a fishing trip if we're on good behavior.
Well, without getting too off topic, I want to get to my. If you're finished with your segment, I want to get to mine. But
all in all, my ending on that on the cell phone thing is, I think that we're in a tricky time right now. I think that we need to watch our children. I think we need to protect our children, but I also think we need to give them. I don't want them falling behind. So that's my conundrum, and maybe you guys can comment on the episode or something, tell me where you stand with it, or maybe you have a better idea, or how do you navigate certain things, or I'd really, really like to hear what you guys think about it. So that's all I have to say about that topic. Now we'll switch over to Eric, the old bastard.
Well, my topic is a little darker than yours.
Do you remember what it was like in the Bible?
I do.
Okay. He's old as shit, is what I'm saying. Anyway, go ahead, Eric.
So,
he took his glasses off for this, so
Getting serious.
he ain't playing around. So this is serious stuff.
So my topic is honestly a lot darker than cell phones and social media. We're going to talk about serial killers today, Tanner. And a couple.
Every white woman in America just tuned in.
I know, dude. They're like,
excited.
we're watching this.
Every white woman in middle America just said, we're in.
And I'm trying to get to my notes here. Let's see.
You take notes?
Yeah. It's not cooperating.
I just wing it. Maybe I should take notes.
The whole thing is supposed to be unscripted, though, right? That's kind of the whole point.
Well, I have notes.
Well, he is 75, so memory's not on his side.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, folks. And I don't need many notes on this because I was there. I wasn't there for the murder, but I was definitely there for the aftermath. I was a reserve officer with Thatcher PD. This is back in 1995.
Oh, I know where you're going.
And I was still working for the prison and reserving for Thatcher. And funny enough, I was married to my first wife, and she babysat for the state of Arizona. And we had a client, and that she babysat for. We babysat both her kids. Her name was Marianne Holmes. She's 29 years old. And on July 9th, so the anniversary is coming up here pretty quick. It's going to be, 21 years? No, more than that, 31 years since this murder. She was murdered in Thatcher, on Church Street in Thatcher. It remains officially unsolved.
Yeah.
And we knew her well. She was kind of strange girl. She's super artsy and kind of out there a little bit, but still, she had a couple of kids, and she was just trying to make things work. And she was found the morning of July 9th, 1995, when her 4-year-old daughter kind of escaped out of the house and went across the street and got the neighbors and told them that that a lion had killed her mom. So when we were called there, obviously we cleared the building. The neighbors had gotten the baby out of the crib. There was a baby involved also, but both of the kids were unhurt, which, thank God. But Marianne was, and it's going to get a little, I was at the scene. It's going to get a little graphic, and I apologize for that, but you got to understand the brutality of this crime. She was bound and handcuffed, which is kind of an important point that handcuffs were used on her. She was bound with rope also. She was gagged, and her clothes were cut off of her. What I found online doesn't really, some of it's true and some of it's not true, and I'm going to recount what I know. And some of the investigators might know more. It's still an unsolved murder, so there's some things I can't say. But she did put up a fight. She was sexually assaulted, and we don't know if that was before she was dead or after she was killed. But she was killed by blunt force trauma to the head. And I don't know how what the listeners know about investigations, but when you have a dead body, you don't touch it. And when you have something of this caliber in a small town, you call in the experts. So we called the Department of Public Safety crime scene investigation team, and they came from Phoenix. So we had to secure the scene for like 4 to 6 hours. And I was stationed at the front door. Marianne was just inside the front door. So I was right there with her for that 4 to 6 hours. And when they did get there, and I got to say too, so the entire attack was carried out in front of her two daughters, age 4 and age 18 months. Important to note, the 4-year-old was also tied up, and her clothes were cut off too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but they were both physically unharmed. Besides that, and the little girl got out of her being tied up and got across the street. When we got there and when we started the investigation after DPS showed up, we found footprints. We found where the person made entry. Mm-hmm. Believe it was through the back door, which wouldn't lock properly. The 4-year-old drew a drawing of the depiction of a lion man that killed her mom. We recovered a bloody shoe print, and from what we found, it was a pretty large male shoe print. Me and another officer who actually passed away not too long ago from some complications with MS, we tracked these footprints all the way across the college, assuming that he had parked on the other side of the college and walked to it. We saw tracks all around the house where he had looked through windows and walked all around the house. Some of the people involved think that she had her yard sale that day. She had a lot of cash. And the cash was actually missing. So they think it might have been a robbery, but it was too methodical and too well thought out. There's no prints left to speak of, no physical evidence left to speak of. And one thing I can remember vividly is when we did start to process her body, I was part of the team that actually lifted her up off the floor, like set her up, and without getting too detailed, when we set her up, she was facing me, and as she came up to up and down position, like right side up, from laying down on the carpet, a trickle of blood like started coming down her nose, which I'll remember till the day I die. Super, super traumatizing, but as a cop, you gotta keep it together, right? Mm-hmm. And but there was one suspect. She had dated a guy, and I can talk about this guy because it's been on Cold Justice, it's been on documentaries, and his name was Philip Turley. And he eventually rose to the top of the list after investigators learned of his intense obsession with Marianne. And coincidentally, Phil was kind of a cop junkie. He wanted to be a cop really bad, but he had taken criminal justice classes at college. But, he just, I don't think he could qualify to be a police officer. So, but he had, supposedly he had all the gear. He had the handcuffs, he had the baton and everything else. And but they just couldn't put enough physical evidence together to bring a conviction or even charge him with that. Coincidentally, in 2016, when he was living in Modesto, California, he stabbed a 54-year-old woman and a 56-year-old man at a mobile home park for asking him about the murder because they had seen the episode.
Really?
And he stabbed them. And in 2021, March of 2021, he pleaded guilty to attempted murder and was sentenced to 18 years in prison. He remains incarcerated in California and still remains the primary person of interest in Marianne's death. So this isn't in you can't Google this part, and I don't know how much I can say, but they brought a cold case investigator in years after.
From the show?
No, from I believe Minnesota. I think the Thatcher PD brought somebody in, and being somewhat of a
so just so that you guys know, you can go on. I think it's Discovery or one of them. You can look up this case on the Cold Case Files on TV. They had so if you don't know what we're talking about, you can look up and he's giving you an account of things that you can't see in that. Yeah,
the show was Cold Justice on TNT originally, and I'm sure it's out there. The episode's called Small Town Tragedy, and it's way more detailed than I'm giving you right now. But one of the personal involvements that I had in it was being a martial artist my whole life and knowing martial arts weapons and different weapons and being a defensive tactics instructor with the police department and training in combatives. They had me come in and do some testing on like wet cardboard with a variety of different weapons. And what we determined was that there was a certain weapon that we used as police officers that matched some of the trauma to Marianne's head.
Wow.
And, it kind of makes sense because Philip Turley being kind of like
he wanted to be
a cop.
Yeah.
And it was my professional opinion that that's where some of the blunt force trauma came from. I believe, from what I observed, that there might have been a hammer involved. I'm not sure. But it remains unsolved. You can go online and look it up, Marianne Holmes murder, and I don't know if it'll ever be resolved or we'll ever really figure out what happened. Maybe Phil Turley, when he's on his deathbed, will confess. Who knows? But in my gut, I'm pretty sure he did it.
Yeah, the sad thing, I mean, if he doesn't, I mean, that means there could be still that guy. I mean, you never know. It could be somebody out there still that could have done that. I thought, wasn't in the original, didn't they originally think it was like a transient that was off the railroad or something like that?
There was a few different suspects. There was definitely a few different suspects, and some local people too were questioned quite extensively. And I didn't know that because I wasn't directly involved in the investigation as far as that was concerned. Mm-hmm. And the guys that were doing the investigation from Thatcher PD didn't really talk about it that much. But when I watched that episode of Cold Justice, I was like, oh man, I didn't know they interviewed that guy. And I forgot who it was now, but you can definitely go watch the episode and see all that.
That's what I was thinking too. So, if she put up a fight, was there no residue from who she fought? Was there no fingerprints? I mean, fingernails, anything? Or
well, going on the internet and researching this a little bit so I could have my ducks in a row. I guess there was some physical evidence that was kind of tainted from the storage process, and I didn't realize that. So, and I don't, it's, who knows? It's Google, so that might not be true. Mm-hmm. But there was, at the scene, definitely a struggle, and there were bloody handprints on the walls. She put up a hell of a fight, from what it looked like. So I don't know why there wouldn't be, but maybe that's part of the evidence that got tainted.
Did they match? So the footprints were, they were kind of a big part of the evidence, right? So
yeah. And Phil,
did he match that?
Yes, he matched the footprints. Phil's a big guy. I think it was size 12 or 13 shoe, and Phil was a big dude. And so that matched. They couldn't find shoes that matched in any of his, and I'm sure he probably got rid of the shoes, but I know I would have if I was the one doing it. But he used condom. He wore gloves. There was no prints. So I believe there was a partial thumbprint, but they couldn't get a match on it.
And so how many years after? So it happened in 95. What year did they arrest Turley?
He committed the stabbings in 2016, and he was sentenced in 2021.
And then, so okay, what connected him to here? What made it? What brought him on the radar in the first place? What, like, was he? Is he known to be around? Oh, he did.
They dated.
Oh,
and
so he was here.
Yes, they dated, and she, from what I understand, she didn't really want to see him again.
Gotcha.
Is kind of what I'm hearing.
Look, he's eligible for parole in the beginning of December 2028. In less than 2 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
18 years to life, and then that's California for you.
So that's 4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For stabbing 2 people.
He
oh my
he
gosh.
gets to apply for parole, be eligible for parole and start applying for that. So we'll see what happens then. But usually with cases like this, just being the murder geek that I am, usually it takes them a couple years before they even get to.
Couple tries before they get.
Yeah.
Why?
It all depends on the evidence.
Why are women so fascinated with murder?
I don't know, but it scares me.
Because men tell us we're crazy all the time.
I have, and I mean,
I'll show him. I know a few tricks.
It's not my theory, but I have a theory, and I've heard this before on different podcasts. Sometimes, and I'm going to piss some women off. I know I am, but if you look at the analytics for viewership on these documentaries on Netflix and these murder documentaries and serial killer documentaries, they're mostly female. And what I heard on another podcast is that some women are attracted to the power of it. It's like rooted in their DNA that the alpha of the tribe, who historically the alpha of the tribe was the one that was
Holy crap!
Oh gosh.
Willing-
70 to 80% of the audience is female.
yes.
Wow, boys, we gotta
and
mind
the-
our P's and Q's.
Oh,
These
and-
girls know tricks.
And the other 20% are males that are forced to watch it with their wives, I'm sure.
Better watch what you say, old man.
The husbands.
Yeah, but it goes back to it's rooted in DNA, right? Well, we're looking at it right now, processing fear and trauma, empathy with the victims, vigilance and preparedness. I think that, you know, Charles Manson, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about Charles Manson a little later, but he was going to get married in prison. There was a woman, there was multiple women that wanted to marry him.
I knew that. I saw that recently.
Yeah, which, you know, as a kid, I was like, why? And I think sometimes some females are attracted to the power, the alpha male, the one who can kill other people and protect them, and you know, like, I don't know. I heard that on another podcast. I don't know if it's true. Don't come after me, everybody.
No, too late.
Too
And it's
late.
going to be 70 to 80% women that are coming after you
70,
too.
yeah.
Watch your tone, old man.
Yeah, it's just
It looks like
insane.
he had two wives before his cult days. He was married twice to Rosalie Jean Willis and Candy Stevens. But he got a marriage license granted to him in 2014 to a 26-year-old devoted follower named Afton Elaine Burton, who went by Star. The 90-day license eventually expired without the marriage taking place.
Did you have you ever heard of the book? I've actually brought the book here. Have you ever heard of this book?
Chaos from who?
Tom O'Neill.
That's not the guy they did the. I'm sure. I bet Dory's watched it. But have you watched Mind, whatever on Netflix?
Mindhunter?
Mindhunter.
No,
That's
sure
not this guy,
haven't.
is it?
no. I'll tell you who Tom O'Neill is.
You haven't watched.
I have not seen that.
Oh, it's. I still don't know why it was never renewed. That show is unbelievable.
So Tom O'Neill was a reporter he's a freelance reporter, and he started reporting. He was commissioned to do a piece around the anniversary of the death of Sharon Tate for a Premier magazine, and they wanted him to go do like a 2 or 3 or 4 page piece on the Manson murders. And those of you who aren't familiar with the Manson murders, they happened in the 1960s in California, and Sharon Tate and a few other people were brutally murdered by the Manson family, and Charles Manson was basically a cult leader. He didn't have really any direct.
He never murdered anybody, did he?
He was at the murder scene. I forgot who the guy's name was, and we can look it up. Can you look that up, Dory? Who one of the other murder scenes were for Manson? He was at that murder scene, but he didn't participate in the actual murder. But he was not at the Sharon Tate murder scene.
Yeah, I was going to say he wasn't there.
That was Tex Watson and some of the other females that were involved in that. But Tom O'Neill starts this. Tex Watson. Tom O'Neill starts this article for Premier Magazine that turned into a 19-year investigation into the CIA and MK Ultra and the government's involvement with the Manson murders. Goes down this huge rabbit hole, and he's claiming that as he started to interview these people, especially have you ever heard of a book called Helter Skelter?
Yeah.
So Helter Skelter was written by the prosecutor. I think his name is Bogossi or something like that. Written by the prosecutor for Charles Manson. And but when he started investigating this, he found a bunch of holes in the prosecution's stories and their notes and everything else that still haven't been explained. And the original reason the prosecutor said that, did you pull it up?
What's the Netflix documentary?
It doesn't say. It just says it was adopted
There's
into.
Yeah, there's a documentary called that's based on the book Chaos on Netflix. You can see if you want to get into it more. But in this 20-year investigation, he started interviewing these people, and he found this common thread that that in Haight-Ashbury, which is an area of California, there was a clinic.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say there was a clinic
Run by this.
Yep, that's right.
Run by a doctor. Yeah, that's Tex Watson right there. But there was this clinic run by a doctor, and Manson was in and out of this clinic. And this clinic later was found, well, the doctor's name was Jolly West. This clinic was later found to be a front for the CIA, and they were doing experiments on patients with LSD and seeing if they could control them, see if they could get them to assassinate people while on LSD and do mind control. They also, in the area, they had this operation where they had prostitutes, and the Johns would come in and they would slip the Johns LSD and see how they reacted with the prostitutes. And it was a huge, it went on for years and years and years. And you can look that up. If you want to look up MK Ultra, you can look that up. The prosecutor's name was Vincent Bugliosi. And he wrote the book Helter Skelter, and he was the prosecutor in that. So they found this connection between Charles Manson, and Charles Manson was committing these crimes, and he was getting off. He wasn't going to prison. He was just going back to the ranch. And this ranch is where it was an old filming,
Yeah, it was an old film studio
ranch, owned by this guy. I forgot the guy's name. And
Was it Spawn?
yeah, Spawn Ranch. And that's where they lived, and they're sex-filled, LSD-fueled parties at this ranch. And so the original Sharon Tate murder scene, they wrote in blood, like kill the pigs.
Yeah, something about pig.
Black power.
Yeah.
And so they made it look like that the Black Panthers had done it. And when in reality they were all white. And so that's what the prosecution took the perspective that it was kind of like a race war thing. Mm. In reality, after Tom O'Neill did his investigation, it was more personal than that. Because I think Dennis Wilson, you know who Dennis Wilson is? Mm-mm. The Beach Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Lived in the house before Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate lived in the house. Roman Polanski was a famous director. And he wasn't at the house when it happened, but he was overseas. But she was pregnant with his baby.
Yeah.
And when she was killed, they did brutal things to her and the baby.
Yeah.
Unspeakable things.
Mm-hmm.
The real reason is Charles Manson was an aspiring songwriter and singer and guitar player. I don't know if you knew that.
Yep, I did.
And
I think he had songs he'd made. He made songs while he was in prison or something like that,
Yeah.
or he was writing songs for people, or I can't remember, but he did something.
He had a demo
with music.
tape. He had a demo tape that he gave to Dennis Wilson, and I might be getting this wrong, but I believe it was Dennis Wilson. And he was also providing girls and drugs for the parties that they would have at this house. I think, well, what it says in this book is that those people owed him money for drugs, and he had sent Tex and the girls to go collect. But they had moved out of that house by that time, and Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate had bought the house. So it was like wrong place, wrong time type thing. But if you guys want to like dive down and like drill down and see, like I recommend the book Chaos. And it's all over the place, but it's says a lot. And then I haven't watched the Netflix series yet, but I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, is it the
Mind?
Mindhunter? Because I just read on here somewhere it says
it's not Mindhunter. What's the Netflix series for the book Chaos? So we can direct people to that.
I just don't remember ever seeing one, but Maybe I bet it's probably something I've already seen and I just don't realize it. Netflix series.
It's called Chaos: The Manson Murders.
No, I've never seen that.
90-minute film explores the
wonder if
world,
it's-
covert motives, and potential CIA mind control links behind the notorious 1969 murders.
I wonder. Oh, okay, I kind of remember seeing this cover, but I really, oddly enough, I really didn't get into like murders until a couple years ago.
Red flag.
So yeah, if you want to, I mean, we're not going to talk about it a whole bunch, but if you want to get into that, watch the documentary, read the book. It's very interesting stuff. But I do want to talk about, and I got permission to talk about this because it's part of my family's history. I have a cousin. Her name is Melissa, and she was married to a guy named Scott, and I want to get the facts straight on this because I got permission from her to talk about this, and you can look it up. It's called Superbike Motorsport Murders, and it took place on November 6, 2003 in Chesney, South Carolina. Her husband, Scott, was murdered. Her mother-in-law, Beverly, was murdered. And two more people, Brian Lucas and Chris Sherbert. So the the service manager and the mechanic. And this was a motorcycle shop. And during the initial investigation in Spartanburg, South Carolina, they found 18 shell casings from a single 9mm handgun. The casings were mismatched, not the same rounds, but the same caliber. Over the years, police tested 27 confiscated firearms against 3 casing, but none matched. This went unsolved for, I believe, 13 years until like 2016.
Yeah, because it says he pleaded guilty in 17.
Yeah, there was no actionable fingerprints or DNA left behind. One thing that did happen in the initial investigation is they, they take everybody's blood and everything, including Melissa's, and Melissa's pregnant with her now. I think Scotty is an adult, and she was pregnant, and the whole thing is so sad, but the ironic part is Melissa would trade out with the mother-in-law, Beverly, after lunch every day. She would go work part-time in town and then go to the shop, and Beverly would go home and Melissa would work the rest of the day at the shop. And on this particular day, Melissa had some errands to run and was late getting to the shop. So I hate to think what would have happened if it was just a regular day and she did go to the shop that day. But what happened is when they collected evidence and collected blood types and things like that, they made a mistake, and the evidence showed from their mistake that the service manager was the father of her child, which was not true. They switched the samples, and so they were really looking at Melissa as a suspect in like a murder for hire or some kind of thing like that. They quickly got that. It says based on the botched data, police confronted Melissa with erroneous paternity test results, implying that Scott was not the biological father of her unborn child, and she was heavily interrogated under the theory that she had been unfaithful and was involved in a murder for hire plot. That was completely false. Scott was the father, and so they apologized for that. Or actually, I don't think they ever did apologize for it, but it was definitely a stressful time for Melissa. I mean, her husband has just been killed,
would be.
and then she's being accused of it. But I mean, as a cop, you always look at the spouse first, and if not anything, just to get them off the table so you can concentrate on who really did it. Well, in 2016, there was a lady named Kayla Brown, and her boyfriend were hired by this man. His name is Todd Colehep, and they were hired to clear off some land, clear off some brush on his land. He was a real estate agent, and he had a bunch of land, and they were hired to go clear some of the land. Well, when they got there, the boyfriend was killed by Todd Colehep, and Kayla was chained by the neck
In a storage shed, wasn't it?
in a metal shipping container.
Metal shipping container.
For, I think, 2 months she was in there, and she was repeatedly sexually assaulted. People finally put two and two together, and they found her in the shipping container, and they arrested Todd Colehep, and subsequently he confessed to some past crimes.
He confessed to a lot of things, didn't he?
A lot of things that haven't even, and stuff in Arizona, because he used to live in Arizona. And he confessed to the 2003 Superbike Motorsport Massacre. And this is not in Google or anything, but I believe he led them, and this is just my account from my family, that he led them to the murder weapon that was buried on his property.
Oh, so he did do it. I wondered, because the show I had watched on it, it kind of made it seem like he was just full of shit and just lying about a bunch of things just to get notoriety. And
right, and they took that into account. But when he showed them the murder weapon and the ballistics matched, then they believed him. He's since been sentenced to, I don't think he can ever get out of prison, honestly. But he's still alive, and to Melissa's credit, she addressed him in court. And there's been a couple of shows done about it, but she addressed him in court, and
he didn't care.
He didn't care, but she addressed him and told him she forgave him.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about her and her trying to get past her trauma and trying to get on with her life. The sad part is Melissa remarried over here in Phoenix, and her husband of they were together quite a while. He was actually a police officer for Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and he was killed in the line of duty a few years ago. And so she's definitely been through it. And she continues to stay active she's a teacher. She continues to stay active with her grief and counseling other widows and widowers how to get through these things. And I can't say a whole bunch. I want to have her on the show coming up around August, September. She's been writing a book for a few years, and she's got a book coming out. And I can't say really a whole lot about this, but there will be another documentary from a major streaming service. I can't say which one, that's going to start filming soon. So I might have said too much, but I think the story needs to be told, and especially the story of her survival through this and her kids' survival through this, and how do you come back from that? How do you come back from that? And how do you come back from being a widow again after you remarry? That's just completely foreign to me. I love my cousin more than anything. She's one of my favorite people. But man, I just am in awe of her, the strength that she has, and how she's able to just have a positive attitude and come back from this.
And just so you guys know, Todd Colehep, he got sentenced to 7 consecutive life sentences plus 60 years, just in case he lasts longer than 7 life sentences. But plus, screw that guy.
Yeah, don't fuck around in South Carolina.
People like that are sick, And he did. If I remember right, he tried to confess to a bunch of stuff, and I don't know why you would do that. What?
Because he
wanted his name everywhere. I feel like we shouldn't even say his name. He's just a piece of shit. Doesn't deserve any kind of anything.
Yeah, he wants the notoriety for sure.
I just don't know. I don't know. And that's the part of the psyche that that has always confused me. I feel guilty. I don't like pain. I don't like confrontation. And it's just, I can't imagine somebody that can want to hurt people like that. And they're out there. They're everywhere. There's and I guess somebody had told me once, everybody in the world can commit murder. Everybody just has a different point where they get to. How far would you go? Would you save your family? Would it take cutting you off in traffic wrong? Or everybody can do it. Everybody's got it. It's just everybody has a different line that it would have to be crossed. And it just bothers me that there's those however many there, maybe more than 1%, maybe less than 1%, but there are people out there with no sympathy, no empathy, complete sociopaths, psychopaths that just they lack any of that. They don't have it, and they don't see life as valuable, but they're out there. And this guy thinks it's cool to claim he's taken more than one.
Well, he has actually.
Yeah, I know he has.
Yeah,
but
he killed a couple in. They went missing in 2015. After this, Johnny Joe Coxey and Megan McCraw Coxey.
I read about them too.
Yeah, they were hired to go out there and clear off some stuff on his property, and they were found. Their bodies were found, and then the boyfriend of Kayla Brown, that his name's Charlie Carver. That was in 2016. They went missing, and luckily she wasn't the fourth, or should I say the eighth victim of all this, and maybe there are other bodies, man. Unverified victim claims. He claims he killed people, and there's more bodies in South Carolina. And during his youth in Arizona, he killed some people in Arizona. So who knows, man? But definitely, I'm on the same. I'm on board with you. Like, I don't want to glorify this guy. He's a piece of shit. He didn't ruin a lot of people's lives, but he did. Luckily, he didn't ruin Melissa's life or her son's life, but it's definitely there, man. I mean, but she's living well is the best revenge, right? Yeah. And she's living well. She's doing her thing, and super proud.
Wasn't this guy super charming too? Wasn't he like he was charming, overconfident? I mean, you'd peg him as a douche, but
yeah, we know some people like that.
Yeah, but I mean, and you don't like anybody could be that. You don't know, but like same thing with Bundy. Bundy was handsome, charismatic, charming.
Yeah.
Just
well, you gotta get him into your trap, right? You can't just go around killing people on the street. You gotta have some kind of charisma to get people to, be alone with you or whatever.
Yeah, sketchy.
Yeah, that's all I have, man. We could talk. We could do a whole podcast on just the Manson stuff, but I kind of want to hit on some of that stuff and not glorifying it at all. The man that's out there, and like Tanner said, there's some people that do some crazy, evil stuff, and you just you got to take care of your families, and you gotta be prepared for anything. I know I am.
Yeah. You've seen them. I mean, I've lived with them. You've seen them. I always wondered that, like being inside, like, yeah, I'm on a minimum security yard, but
that's just what they got caught for.
Yeah, that's just what they've been caught for. You don't know what you're sitting next to. You don't know who you're talking to, and there was a guy while I was in there. We used to work at the, what's it called? The Pinal County Garage. So one of my jobs, was going out to the Pinal County Garage, maintaining vehicles, and which was crazy to me too. The first day we get there, Don Weaver was his name. He was running the shop, and, he walked up to me first day. He's like, here. He gave me a set of keys. He's like, hey, take this car, drive it out over here, pull it around to the back of the shop. And I was like, excuse me? You want me to drive a car out of the gate Like, this is a setup. Their test, I just figured they're going to see what I was going to do. But of course I did it. But there was like 10 of us on that crew. But there was one guy, and I don't remember his name, and he probably likes it that way. But he was on I think it was his last 3 months of a 5-year sentence. And when we got there, he was super freaking cool. And he just seemed like a regular old guy. And right before he left, they had thrown him like a party, and the workers had brought in burritos, and we had a big old, made a big deal about it because that guy had worked out there for like 4 years. But I was like, hey, right before he left, I was like, hey man, I went up to him on the yard when we got home one day. I was like, hey, I'm happy you're leaving or anything. Let me get your phone number, and maybe we can talk when we get out. He said, fuck no. I was like, taken back. I was like, what? He said, I'm in prison. What makes you think I want anything to do with anybody here? He's like, I'm sorry, you may seem like a good dude, but you don't know who any of these people are.
Nope.
Like, I don't know who you are.
Yep.
What if I give you my number and, you come and rob me or I knew I wouldn't. He didn't.
Right.
But I'd never thought about that before. It never crossed my mind once, because there were some guys in there. I've only kept one friend the whole time. And he's been my friend forever, and his name was Bobby Hoppola. And Bobby was he's a different character, man. But he took care of me, and he just passed away, so I'm getting a little. He was just a really good guy. He passed away last month or 2 months ago.
Oh man.
Yeah. He had some complications, and just out of nowhere, he died. I think he was 53 years old.
That's young.
Well, not that I was friends with or ran around with or associated with, but he was a skinhead. Like in prison, he was one of the skins, and but he never. It was funny. I'll give you a quick story. This is good. So. My dad's married to a Mexican lady, and when we were on the yard, there was a guy named Jeff that was running the white guys, and I walked up to him and I was like, Jeff, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want any trouble, and I don't want any trouble for my dad. But my stepmom is Mexican, and she's gonna come visit me, and she's important, and like that's my family. And he's like, oh man. He's like, you better go tell Bobby. And I'm like, really? He's like, Bobby's going to be at visitation. You better go tell him. So I was like, well, what do I do? He's like, just pull him aside. And he's like, you love your stepmom, right? Like, it's what you said, right? I was like, yeah. And he's all, then you need to stand up to him. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you walk up to him and you tell him, hey, my dad's married to a Mexican lady, and if you got a problem with that, we can go. I said, you're kidding, right? He's like, you know them. Like, you have to do that. That's the only way they're going to respect you. Mm-hmm. So I stressed for 6 straight days. And the day before visitation, Jeff's telling me, it's like, you need to go. You need to do this, man. You're going to be in deep trouble if you don't. So I pull like 3 of those guys aside, and I'm like, hey, I'm shaking, scared to death, probably sweating. And I walked up and I was like, hey, my dad's married to a Mexican lady, and she's coming to visit me this weekend. And if there's a problem, we can fight right now. They all looked at me. Well, I didn't know Jeff went behind my back.
Of course.
Jeff went and pulled them aside and was like, hey. And they're like, we don't care. Why would we care? And I was like, well, Jeff told me I had to do it. He's all, yeah, we know. He told us. And they just said, look, man, if you were out here claiming to be a skinhead or something like that, maybe there's a problem, but you're not. Like, just go have your visitation. What,
right.
Why do we care what you do out there? And I was like, he's like, yeah, they thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever heard in their life, was me telling 3 or 4 skinheads that I was going to whoop their ass. I mean, there's no way I could have, but I guess I would have had. I mean, I thought I had to do it, but yeah, they set me up pretty good. So I don't know where I was going with that story, but It was a pretty funny one.
It's a good story, though.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, we're right at 2 hours, so we probably need to wrap it up. I want to give a shout out to as I lose my voice.
Wait, before you say that,
Yeah,
do people say shout out anymore?
I do.
I know, but we're old.
I don't
so
give a
like,
shit.
What if there's kids out there like? And I thought about that. I was gonna, like, I said shout out. You've said shout out. I'm like, do people say that anymore?
I don't care.
Pretty sure that's.
I
still
say
thing.
it.
Okay, all right. Shout them out then.
To my boy RJ and my boy Weddle that are going to be fighting. Weddle's fighting in Payson, and RJ's fighting in Phoenix at Celebrity Theater, and they fight out of the Fight Factory. And I'm sponsoring both of them. 19XX is sponsoring both of them for this fight, among other sponsors out there. So I want to give them a shout out, wish them luck, and they're going to kick some ass. And that's about it. That's about all I got.
Well, I already shouted out my sister. Shout out America, 250 years.
Hell yeah.
We do that. I also want to give a shout out to my water guy. So my water guy, it's the watertruck.co. So he came in and put a triple water filter system in my house for me. So if you guys want, good water, go to watertruck.co. Yeah, give him a ring.
.com wasn't available.
No, .com was a lot more expensive.
Somebody else has watertruck.com.
I guess so, but it's watertruck.co. So
Jesus.
he said it was a huge difference in price, so he just went with watertruck.co. So, yeah, anyway, give Joe a call. There was something else I wanted to say. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I guess that's it. If I remember, it'll be too late. So.
Oh, also, July 11th next weekend. By the time
I know it is.
By the time we record the next podcast, it'll be already over with. But UFC 329 is July 11th. I want to wish my boy Cody Garbrandt good luck in that fight. The hat I'm wearing right here, No Love Cycles. Cody No Love Garbrandt, and he's been fighting in the UFC for a lot of years. And he's going to kick some ass too this weekend. So,
Boy, it'd be really cool if we could get him on the show.
Yeah, it would be.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, there's other people. We've actually been in contact. My good friend Patrick King, he is the drum tech for Lamb of God, and he was Vinnie Paul's personal drum tech all through the Hell Yeah years.
And Lamb of God's drummer is Art Cruz, one of my favorite drummers.
He's his drum tech. He's been a friend of mine. We were Facebook friends for 15 years or so, and we recently met in person, and he's got the best damn hot sauce out there. It's not available yet, but he's going to get me the link, and we'll put it in. But he's agreed to be coming on our show and give us some old stories about Vinnie Paul and stuff like that. I got to nail down a time to get him on that works with him, but yeah, I'm super pumped. That's going to be a heck of a show. We get to talk about the heavy metal world, and he's such a good guy. He recently got me and Larry and Gera pit tickets to the Lamb of God show in Phoenix. So, yeah, I'm super pumped about getting him on the show. And, yeah, we got some pretty cool things coming up in the future.
I think I'm more pumped to get him on the show.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you're a drummer. It would make sense. But, yeah, he's
the man.
And Larry met him. Larry's like, dude, he is one of the most down-to-earth guys. He does – you got to go look him up. He's got a on the top of my Facebook page, he's got his own Road Dogs 333 blend P. King's coffee, so you can buy his coffee. That's from him. It's pinned on the top of my Facebook page. But what a freaking down to earth cool guy. Just one of the old guys, just a normal guy. But man, I bet he's got some good stories.
I can't wait. I was hoping to get him on next week, but we might have to wait a little longer.
We got to test out we got a lot of testing to do. We want to make sure that show is flawless, so we got to do the picture-in-picture and make sure that you guys will be able to see him. And everything when we do the interview. So, P. King, if you're listening, you're my hero. Can't wait to see you, man. It's going to be cool. But yeah, that's what I forgot was just telling you about some upcoming shows. Yeah, we're going to try to get as many guests as we can that are, we hopefully we can get some UFC guys and I'm going to dive into the metal world. I'm going to try to get Marcus Rafferty on. He's the guitarist for Chad Gray and Mudvayne right now. So he's a good friend of mine. There's hundreds of pictures of me and Marcus. We hang out every time they're in Phoenix. So, yeah, we've got some pretty freaking cool stuff lined up. And I know Eric already said it, but gosh dang, I'm so thankful for all you guys that have taken the time to hear what a couple of dudes just telling stories and talking to each other. I mean, it means the world to me. This is my dream, being behind a mic and being able to talk. So
It's a good time.
yeah. So thank you guys for listening. And that's it.
All right. Peace out, everybody.